Good afternoon, everybody. This is Kevin, Florida man abroad. About 15 years ago, there was a very interesting survey done. Researchers asked thousands of American veterans of the Vietnam War what their attitudes were, what their memories were. And they were very surprised to learn that 91% of those veterans were proud to have served, and that 74%, three-fourths of those Vietnam soldiers would volunteer to do so again, even though they know the outcome of that conflict. This is a war that America lost. There were no parades waiting for the soldiers when they came home. It was a very traumatic time in American history. And these were kids. They were 18, 19, 20 years old, just like the same soldiers we send to fight every war. They were giving up the chance to go to graduate school. They were giving up the chance to start early on their careers and start a family and buy a home. And this is a very shocking survey for those who have not served, to hear that soldiers, even in a losing war, were proud to have gone. What could be worse than that? What could be worse than being called away from home and family, friends, to risk your life, to be shot at, to watch your friends be shot and killed? Why would they have such strong positive feelings of that experience? And it's a great question. There is something that is very, very deep and true about letting go of what's familiar to you, of being willing to leave the comforts of home and the comforts of family and put yourself in a position where you're completely and totally at the mercy of other people that you've never met. And yet, those people have made the same decisions and made the same sacrifices that you're willing to make. If you're a religious person, there is something very liberating about putting all of your faith in God that He's going to protect you. What we're talking about here is nothing as dramatic as that. This channel is about living and working abroad, not fighting. You're not going to risk your life. But we do have some things we can learn from these young men who went and gave so much and have overwhelmingly good memories of the whole experience. When you become an expat, when you decide to give up your home and your career and change it for another one far away, you immediately become worthy of respect by people who are living in the place you're moving to. This is especially true if you're moving from a well-developed country to one that's less developed. I'm not talking here about tourists or people who go to a trade show and come in and they're only here for a week, or they go and they visit the Great Wall and they get photographed for Facebook and then they go home. I'm talking about a total commitment. I'm talking about uprooting your life, selling your things, and living among strangers until you make friends, struggling a little bit with a career until you build one. And when you do that, you will be afforded the respect and the admiration of the people around you. I'm talking about when you go into a restaurant and the owner comes out and asks to take your picture and put it on his wall. I'm talking about the respect that comes from when you visit a factory, a manufacturing center, and they see you as a bridge to new markets, new customers, a lifeline. And you will be treated very well. And I'm talking about the very very tight relationships you develop with people when you when you surrender yourself to those circumstances. Most of us know if we are working for a Western company, if the CEO of that company dies tomorrow, we will have a new CEO the day after tomorrow. If Apple Computer can survive the death of Steve Jobs and become richer than ever, if Walt Disney can continue to thrive even after Walt Disney dies, don't pretend that you or anyone else is anything special. But when you come here, you are special. If anything happens to me or the people in my group, it means that factory I just talked about is not going to get new customers in Germany or America. In most places, I know that I am the only American they have met, and probably the only American they will ever meet. If you're a Greek girl, if you're a Russian man, if you're a French boy, if you're a German lady, when you go abroad to live, you will be the only one, probably, from that country that the people here will ever meet and get to know. And that's a big responsibility. Have you thought about that responsibility? It means that when we drink too much, or when we're too loud in a restaurant, or when we're rude, or when people come up and they ask to take our picture and we say no, or if children come up and are curious and they ask us questions, we ignore them. And they're going to judge our country based on the way we act toward them. That's a big responsibility. So consider the opposite. Consider what happens instead. If every time you walk in through a door, you're careful to make sure that if anyone's behind you, you hold the door open for them. That if you see a woman or a kid struggling with a heavy bag, you go over to help them. If you go into a restaurant, and I don't speak Chinese, so I type in on my phone on the translator. I finish my restaurant dinner, and I hold up this message on my phone. And it says, "My name is Kevin. It is nice to meet you. I'm an American. I wanted to let you know that I really enjoyed eating here. Thank you." And the reaction you get every time, 1,000 times out of 1,000, is total surprise and happiness. That even when you're tired, if children come up and they want to talk to you, they want to practice their English, and you say, "My name's Kevin. My name's John. My name's Jackie," whatever. "I'm an American. It's very nice to meet you and be your friend. Have a nice night." They will remember that for the rest of their lives. And that's the kind of joy you feel. And you can't get that at home. I know you can't. What did the Vietnam veterans know? What do they understand better than anyone? That there is a hole in their life that would have been there forever if they did not obey the call. Maybe some of them even saved lives. Maybe if they were not there when at the right time, the right place, somebody would have died. All of us who are on this channel, we have felt that in our spirit, in our soul, in our minds, that we're supposed to go. We are being called away to a new career, a new life somewhere else. And what 3/4 those guys in Vietnam understood was that no matter how this turns out, there is nothing worth trading it for. All of us crave love and respect and admiration. But these are things that are not freely given, they're earned. And all of us, if we're honest, have fallen short of our own expectations of even ourselves. We look back and we're embarrassed of the way we treated people at certain times. and people have held that against us. Many of us have relationships in our small towns that we can never get past, reputations that we can never shake. What that means is we have to leave, that we can move to a new place, start over, find a new group of people to love, respect, and admire. And when we do so, we get it back. And we will deserve the joy and the happiness that comes from all of it. Thank you for listening. There are people who need you to leave where you are and invest yourself somewhere else. And I hope you listen. Be good.